And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Signposts. Great to be with you all again, once more. Happy to be here today, and glad to see that there's already some good questions. There's already some donation-based questions that are already coming up, so that's great. We're going to have a really great discussion today here through the Signposts. So first and foremost, before we go ahead and get started, we're going to go ahead and move into some announcements. So here we go. And of course, just letting everybody know that the Etherics Academy is now available. It is now online. You can go to ethericsacademy.com. You'll find the homepage there, getting information about what the Etherics Academy is all about, what you're going to be learning throughout the entire curriculum. That is 6 months in length. And it is basically just month by month, right? So it is $77 US per month. And again, there is no contracts. You're able to stay for as long as you want. If you basically just want to be a part of the course just to observe, representing the first module, you certainly can. But if you want to go forward into the second, third, fourth, and fifth, and sixth modules, which again span over a total of 6 months, then again, that's where we need to look into some involvement. So basically how the end of modules work is that once you are finished a module, there is an end of module quiz. Once you complete the quiz, then you move on to the second module, and it continues this way up until the 6th and final module, which happens on the 6th month. So again, it is a very powerful course that is going to be taught, really looking into a lot of deep understanding, deep spiritual practices, Kundalini activation, Kundalini awakening, getting to know the true nature of the chakra centers, being able to look into a lot of these teachings that reflect the ancient teachings and the ancient education, and bringing it into a modern outlook. So again, very excited to start the Etherics Academy. The first class is going to be starting on the 2nd of September, and we are going to have enrollment up until the time of September 18th. So we have less than a month for the window for people to enroll. So again, just check out ethericsacademy.com. PayPal and Stripe are welcome through the Etherics Academy, and I look forward to seeing you there at the ethericsacademy.com. And of course, everything on the New Earth Teachings backup channel is on our Odyssey channel, odyssey.com/@New Earth Teachings. So you can check out the link also in the video description. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started today with, I was about to say New Earth TV Live. That's another important announcement too. Tomorrow there will not be a New Earth TV Live because I'm going to be going away for the weekend. I'm going to be going to Victoria, going to Vancouver Island for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there will be no New Earth TV Live this week, but I will be back next week with the Signpost Live and New Earth TV Live for next Friday. All right. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. So as I was talking about regarding the topic of today for the Signpost Live is we're going to be looking into, let me just go ahead and move my camera a bit more. There we go. Is we're going to be looking a little bit more into the financial systems. And of course, a little bit more about extraterrestrial disclosure. And then we're going to be getting into questions for you guys as well. So let me just move my my microphone over this way. And we're going to look a little bit more into the financial systems. So again, some people may have been following the BRICS summit that has happened here just on Tuesday. I believe they're having their third and final day of the BRICS summit here today. And some people have been tuning into it, and they have been talking about the idea of architecture of a new financial structure. And it was believed from a lot of people that they were really going to kind of spill the beans and say, yes, we have the BRICS coin, yes, we have the BRICS financial system already. Now, here's the thing. Truthfully, they do. They do have it ready. They're just not ready to publicly disclose it, right? So for those of you who have been watching the BRICS Summit or aware of the BRICS Summit, they have not indulged the idea of announcing the BRIC coin yet, because that is, again, what a lot of people thought that they were going to do. But basically, if you listen to them very carefully, they pretty much already have it set up. They already have it ready. Everything's done. Everything's developed. Everything is pretty much taken care of on their end. It's kind of like a bait and switch situation, which means they're deciding just to hold it off until the right moment. Some people are surmising that they would have their BRICS coin released within the next 5 to 10 years, but I don't see that at all. I see this happening very, very quickly, but I think it's just the idea of kind of a tease, right, for when we're looking at the old regime, and the old regime may again be in quite a bit of a panic mode right now. But I'm sure there were a lot of discussions relating to them to launch this brand new type of BRICS financial system to basically debut that through the summit. But of course they did not. But like I said, my feeling is that this is all just part of a tactic. This is all something that they're very much aware of their particular financial system. Now, is that going to be the only financial system that is going to be available this time? No, right? There's going to be more than just the idea of the BRICS. Right? The BRICS is one particular entity that will have its own particular type of gold-backed financial system, because that is exactly what they're looking to do. They're getting a lot more countries that are working together with them, but this is not the only financial system that's coming together. There are going to be other ones. So basically the other ones that are coming would also be of blockchain technology. So there's people talking about XRP and other particular types of financial systems that are blockchain related, and that this too will be something that will be much more on the higher rise. Whenever you start to look at astrology, whether it's Western astrology, whether it's Vedic astrology, whether it's Chinese astrology, or anything of that nature that indicates some type of hint of a very strong time relating to financial matters, relating to financial growth and financial stability, that is when you can start to see a lot of this unfolding. And I feel as we get into the latter part of 2023, we're going to see a lot more financial change coming upon the horizon. So it's not just going to be through BRICS, it is going to be through other factors as well too. So I was looking into more of the BRICS situation last night before getting on the air here today, and just looking into what the plan is for that. So they basically are pretty much everything ready. Everything is good to go relating to the release of certain financial systems, relating to the architecture of it. Everything relating to the blueprint is ready to go. Everything pertaining to the hardware is ready to go. Everything's ready. It's just a matter of kind of like hovering your finger over the button and just ready to push it, right? And that is what I feel is going to be happening here very soon, but not just particularly for this type of group. This is one entity out of numerous entities that are going to basically help to contribute in a brand new financial system. It needs to come through much more than the idea of just a BRICS model. Okay, BRICS is one idea. But as Adronis has always talked about, especially over the years, he's always talked about the idea of there being financial systems and not the idea of a financial system, right? So we can look into that a little bit more if you guys do have further questions in regards to BRICS today, or just in regards to other particular financial systems. But I'm going to do a bit of an outlook just relating to the tarot here about the new financial systems to come here as we move into 2023, coming into 2024. And the question will be, will there be a debut? Will there be a benchmark period starting to peak here in 2023, before the end of 2023, where we will see this peak of a new financial system or systems coming together? So we'll take a look at that now and see what the cards have to say. So just seeing if there is the genesis, the beginning of a brand new financial system that is going to peak itself here in the year of 2023 before the end of this year? And will this be happening? Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so it certainly looks like, yes, there is going to be a lot of things on the horizon. Okay, there's already, I wouldn't even say preparation. Everything's pretty much ready to go. Okay, so everything that represents these new financial systems, whether they are gold-backed currencies, whether they are blockchain technologies, or anything of that nature, they're already out. Everything's wired together. All the mainframes are put together. Everything is ready to go. But they're biding their time. Okay? This is deliberate. This is something that is very intentional. They're basically saying, yeah, everything's ready to go. Everything's done. Everything's developed. All of the blueprints are put together. Everything is in an infrastructure state where we just need to flick a switch and these things are ready to go. But they're deliberately holding back. Okay? It's kind of like what I've talked about before, representing this idea of a chess game, right? Where we're starting to see all the pieces gathered together, and as it relates to the old regime really just has that king's left standing, and all of the king's soldiers are pretty much taken down, and you have all of these pieces on the board just cornering the king, and they're just waiting for the king to make a stupid move before there's checkmate. And that's really the feeling I'm getting here. So behind the scenes, this is something that's ready to pull the switch. We're ready to flick the switch. We're ready to press the button. We're ready to bring this out. The near future, it feels like things are going to start peeking their head. Now, are they going to be fully active? I don't think so. But it's basically that there's a peeking of the head, there's a benchmark, there's a genesis, there's a beginning of a fruition that is coming together. That will probably come before the end of this year. But I don't think it'll be hitting the ground running, right? It's just basically that there's talk about it. There's discussions of infrastructure. There's discussions of these new financial systems that are about to come together. And it's just a matter of time before the whole situation itself unfolds. And maybe as we get more into 2024, there will be that idea of hitting the ground running. But I'm not going to look into 2024 until we get a little bit more closer to it. Just as the times become a little bit more ripe, so probably around the time of October or November, I'll be looking a little bit more into 2024. But we still have another half of the year here relating to 2023. So it looks like, again, they're going to be going places with this. They're ready to get things going. They're not really movement, because this is really what the chariot represents. Doesn't mean it's in motion yet, but everything is hooked up. Everything's ready. Everything's set to go. We are ready to press the button. We're ready to flick the switch. And this is what's going to lead into new financial systems coming together here on the planet Earth. So things are pretty much ready. Things are pretty much set. It was a little bit surprising to me that they haven't really announced the BRICS coin, but then I could see that, okay, this is definitely a strategy. This is a bait and switch operation. They kind of want to get the other side upset. They want to get the other side kind of shaking a little bit, sweating a little bit, because they need them to make that stupid move. Once they make that stupid move, the switch gets flicked. The button gets pressed. Everything gets powered on. So yeah, I mean, we're ready here. Like I said, I think this is because a lot of people were really expecting that out of the BRICS Summit and saying, okay, someone's going to come together and they are going to announce, yes, there's this new BRICS coin, there's this new gold-backed currency. I think they're also waiting maybe for the time closer to the U.S. elections. There may be something there taking place, because if Trump does indeed go back into office, there could be a lot of support relating to this new financial system that's coming together. So I don't know if they'll wait that long. It's just a matter of them, again, waiting, biding their time, because as I've also talked about, you're looking at many militaries from all over the world that are just ready to pounce, right? They're kind of like behind the bushes. They're ready just to jump out and seize a lot of the old members of the old regime. And they basically just give us the word, just give the word, not yet, just be patient. We gotta let them screw things up first. We gotta let them make a serious botch. And then when they make a serious botch, that's when you guys zero in. They're gonna make this botch. Oh, they're gonna definitely make this botch. Don't you worry about that. They are on the cusp of making a really huge botch, and that's when you move in, okay? And that is where I feel also is going to lead to government shutdown. This is where I also feel, like I said, there's going to be those empty buildings, okay, where there's not a politician in sight. And there's going to be some major shutdowns, and basic for something like that to happen is going to lead to a major coup d'etat that will take place, and basically work perhaps with military action, military quarantine, military control, whatever it may be. Something is moving in that is basically going to shut down the governments. Okay? And that's coming. That is just an event that I've seen. It's an event that other people are seeing as well too. We don't have a timestamp on it, as I've talked about before. But this is really what I've seen as well too, is just the idea. It's kind of like they're just waiting in the bushes. Come on, go ahead, make a stupid move, go ahead. What are you going to do, King, right? You're surrounded by all these other pieces of the opposing side. What are you going to do? Go ahead, make a stupid move. We dare you, okay? And they're going to make a stupid move because all they've been doing is doing stupid things. Because they've been found out. The moment that all of their plans have been thrown out publicly, because this has happened. You've had whistleblowers, you've had the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists bring about all this information. They're done, right? They cannot survive by having their plans exposed, and their backup is trying to be the idea of psychological programming, where we think it's okay that P-files are no big deal, and that you can just it's people that just have a little bit of mental challenging, that's all, and right, and they're trying to indoctrinate the idea that being a pedo, in that sense, I have to say it kind of funny for censorship reasons, but being a PTO, right, is basically okay, and that's not working, right? So they're trying to use these despicable psychological tactics to try and get the idea that if you're a devil worshiper, right, if you're into the pedophilia, right, that's okay. That's just something that's a little bit challenging. That's all right. But hey, guys, you can accept it, right? That's what they're trying to do. And it's all just fear tactics. It's tactics out of fear. It's tactics out of control. It's tactics to fuel greed. And of course, we're seeing a lot of the things that are happening relating to the fires of this planet. With what's happened to Maui, what's happened in my neck of the woods here in British Columbia, Canada, with Kelowna, right, where they basically, again, these are all nothing but land grabs. That's all they're doing. They're using really pathetic excuses to, again, use laser technology, point source energy weaponry, to fire upon these big, beautiful establishments here upon different lands, from Hawaii to Kelowna to Northwest Territories to Australia, right? And they have just been lighting the world on fire. But really, in that sense, it's backfired, just as many other things will, because people aren't buying into their ordeals anymore, right? People are actually already looking to sue these particular investors that are trying to call these people who have lost their homes. They're trying to call them up and saying, hey, we understand you lost your land because of this climate change situation. We would be interested if you want to know if you want to sell your land. And people are just gathering names of these investors and basically going to start filing lawsuits. So there again is another idea of their own plans backfiring, because people are now starting to get the idea here. This is not right. This is not natural, especially looking at Maui. Gee, we have all that property that Oprah Winfrey owns, and not a single one of that land, not a single acre of that land was ever caught on fire. So I guess the solution for us to not lose any particular land is just to gather around the hectares of land that Oprah Winfrey has, right? Okay. So again, people are connecting the dots here. They're realizing that this is nothing more than a very pitiful, pathetic, despicable, sadistic plan for land grabs. Okay? And that's all these fires represent. They've been doing this for years, guys. They've been lighting the entire world on fire for, well over the last several years. This has happened every single summer. Every single summer, there's been, again, laser beams, there's been directed energy weapons, there's been point source energy weapons aimed at different areas, different planes, right? And they're starting fires because it's all part of their big land grabs. They tried to grab farms. They tried to basically buy out farms so that they can control the food. They try to, again, eliminate these particular foundations on land so that they can sweep away the ashes and so that they can sell them to the highest bidder. And so they have a lot of these elitists coming upon the land and having establishments there as well too. This is nothing new. They've been doing this for years, okay? But they've been just really, really upping their game, trying to feel like they can just do all these things until they're busted. And I think they're just about to be busted. So let's take a look also at the fires, and we're going to look a bit more into ET disclosure, because one of the theories was that if they start doing this, they're probably going to blame all this on ETs, right? And we're going to look into that too, pertaining to ET disclosure. So let's take a look at the nature of all these fires, that they are starting these fires because they are trying to to get land for themselves. And will this plan succeed? Will this plan succeed in them being able to work with directed energy weapons and eliminating homes so that they can have their own land grab? Will they succeed in this land grab climate change agenda situation? All right, let's take a look. See what the cards say here. Okay, well, the best thing I can put is that this is almost like they've let them do this. They've let them do this because this is going to lead to a very faulty situation where many of them are going to be apprehended. They basically have shown their ass. It's the best way I could put it. Right? So this is representing the idea that this is all part of the plan, this is all part of something that they know that they've been planning for quite some time, and it's going to backfire on them tremendously, okay? It's an entire balancing act that's been coming together. It's been the idea that they're letting them do these things so that they can basically catch them red-handed in the act, right? So this is a whole balancing act that's come together. A lot of this has been about esoteric rituals as well, too. A lot of this, like I said, they were pounding those lasers upon Maui on 8/8, right? On August 8th. This is a numerological date. This is relating to the idea of human sacrifice. Okay, this is all part of a sacrificial ritual that they were doing as well too. Okay, so basically, yeah, this is all greed-based. This is all about the idea of trying to acquire land, try and make sure that they have their chosen ones established on certain lands that they want to grab onto. That they basically, in that sense, they're trying to play out their certain agenda, that no one's going to own land, that they're going to own everything, and that they're going to try and do this for years to come and just laser blast everything and try to neutralize everything so that they can sweep away the ashes so that they can have the lands for themselves, okay? But this is not going to happen because it looks like they're going to really get caught up in the act. It looks like there is going to be some counter forces coming in and basically busting these people that are doing it. And I think this is going to lead to a further exposure of Oprah Winfrey, okay? Because she's been part of the plan to basically acquire much of this land, these hectares of land that she has in Maui. There's going to be a lot of investigation on that, right? There's going to be a lot of exposure, and she's one of the high elitists, right? So basically I would say there's going to be a massive amount of exposure. There's going to be a lot of consequences that are going to come out relating to a lot of this activity that is moving forward, okay? So this represents a rejuvenation card. This is a healing card here. We have the Knight of Cups, so there is going to be some powerful healing coming together. This is, again, all part of new situations that are unfolding where the earth is going to open up its heart to the people who have lost their properties, who have lost their homes. There's going to be worldwide assistance and worldwide help to all of those people who have gone through a horrific turmoil relating to just waking up to laser blasts, to directed energy weapons, to source point energy weapons, and who have lost their homes. And people have died over this as well too. So this is, again, representing the idea that it's been, again, another type of 9/11. It's been another false flag, because all these things, all these events that happen, guys, none of them are genuine. There's no such thing as a genuine application of an event like this. These are all staged. These are all pre-planned. This is all put together by a three-ring circus. This is all part of the idea of false agendas. And again, we're going to blame it on climate change. we're going to blame it on ETs, right? There's lasers coming. Okay, well, it's ETs, it's the aliens. They're shooting lasers at, yeah, okay, well, they want to blow up homes so that they can make land grabs? I don't think so. Okay, so they haven't really blamed it on ETs yet, but it wouldn't surprise me very soon that they do, right? And they may start to still use some of those directed energy weapons in some particular shape, way, or form to try and blame it on ETs. You see, this is all about testing the metal relating to what a lot of the old regime does. And when you look at that from the counterforces perspective, okay, we're seeing exactly what they're doing here. We're seeing exactly what they're utilizing. And now we will go ahead, we will trace down, we'll find exactly the source to where they're able to access a lot of this weaponry, and we will apprehend it. This is the idea of what I say, is that they're showing their ass to people, right? And they expose themselves in this way. And then you have many of the counterforces that represent multiple countries, not to mention also off-worlders, that are now going to discover this. Okay, this is exactly how they're getting access to the satellites. It's exactly how they're working together with point source weaponry. This is some of their facilities right here. Go on and take them down. And that is basically what's going to happen. Okay, a lot of these directed energy weapon satellites are either going to be put into new ownership, or they may even be blasted out of the sky. Okay, so there will probably be two options here. Either the idea that a lot of these satellites are being discovered and will either be destroyed, or they will be brought forward into new ownership. And that new ownership, a new claimancy, would be through the counterforces. Okay, so the whole idea, and this is kind of their weird strategy, but their weird strategy, the counterforce strategy, is sometimes they let the old regime do their ridiculous agendas, so that they know exactly what kind of tools they're using, what kind of resources they have, what they are doing, how they are getting access to all of that, because all of that is being traced. All of that is being centralized and being triangulated on. Once they know exactly what is happening, they can now start to look at all these things, all the triangulations, all the centralizations of this type of technology, of the type of resources that they're using, their staging areas, and then they go and they send teams and they bust them. And that's basically what's going to be happening. So somebody say, oh, Brad, is that really what's going to happen? Well, let's take a look at the cards, right? See what the cards say about that in regards to what I was just saying. So I would ask the tarot, is it true that they let these particular situations happen to a certain degree so that they can triangulate, centralize, and therefore apprehend those responsible for performing these despicable acts? That this is exactly their game plan of what they're doing. They let this happen a little bit just so that they can triangulate on those responsible, sending teams out and then busting those responsible. Would this be accurate in regards to their method? All right, let's take a look. Yes, pretty much. In a nutshell, this is exactly what's happening. Like I said, this is all brought forward in secrecy, right? High Priestess also represents the nature of secrets. So we're looking at the counterforces, and the counterforces basically keep themselves clandestine, okay? They're very much in the shadows, and they're working together in that way. And this represents the idea that, yes, they let those old regime members flaunt. They know that they have that material wanting. They know they have that desire here, and they let them go ahead and play things out. And so they kind of, again, lie in wait, right? They kind of wait for the scales to tip a little bit, and then bingo, right? There's that strike, and once that strike happens, then there's the feeling of movement, right? Because this is all about greed. This is all about land grabs. This is all about possession. This is all about the idea of attainment in regards to their own selfish, despicable agendas that they want to see through. And so the whole idea here is that there is the opportunity for all of this to move on, because there is going to be people getting busted in the background, right? So these are advisement cards representing the King of Cups and representing the Eight of Cups as well too. So we have cup cards. So this is representing the idea of a very emotional time, but we are starting to see the idea that many of these counter forces basically just let, to a certain degree, a lot of these things happen so that they can therefore zero in on those who are responsible and clearing them out. And basically, whether that's installations, whether that's, again, other particular forms of places that they gather, right? They're basically being triangulated on, taken out, and taken out of the picture. So we will notice that these things become less and less. We notice, again, that the whole COVID thing right now, I would say in a great majority, is dying away, because a lot of that resources to fuel that campaign is basically being sucked dry. It's basically being dismantled. And now they're starting to see exactly how they're still using directed energy weapons to, again, grab these land grabs and try to, again, blame it on climate change. And that these things, in that sense, also get scrutinized, and then there's a triangulation that takes place, finding those responsible and basically taking them out. There's a whole task forces for that. So let's ask the question again, are we going to see more directed energy weapon attacks like what we have been seeing through Maui, through Kelowna, the Northwest Territories, through Australia? Are there more of those directed energy weapon attacks looking to happen? Doesn't look like it. I don't think so. I think whatever they're planning to do, they're on the tail end of this, because this is the whole idea of takedowns taking place. Okay, we got the judgment card here. We got in the idea of the boomerang effect, right? They're throwing all this stuff out. They're basically being attacked right now. Okay, there are already task forces that are already trying to find a lot of these perpetrators that have already been doing this and taken them down, right? This is the idea of a big course of action is being taken right now. And what is going to happen to these old regime members? This. Assassinations are basically taking place. People are being taken down who have been the culprits and the perpetrators of these particular types of events, right? So we got the idea of ruin. We got the idea of defeat. We got the idea in that sense of death. And this is what's really happening right now with those that are basically planning these, because this is all coming through boardrooms, guys. They go into conference rooms and say, okay, so we got Oprah grabbing all of these bits of land. We got all these hectares. In that sense, we need more land. All right, well, let's get the directed energy weapon satellites and let's just start laying waste to all the land that surrounds Oprah's property. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, we need to make sure that we're denying any particular type of aid to the people, because we want them to really just be in a state of absolute peril. Like there's no help coming from them whatsoever. So we need to make sure we have task squads here to make sure that nobody is able to deliver any particular types of goods to these people. Once they've lost their homes, let them sweat it out a little bit. And after they sweat it out a little bit, then we get the investors to come in and call them. And then they ask if they were interested in grab their land. And because they're so desperate and drenched in fear, they're going to have no choice but to sell their land to us. And bingo, we got more land. There you go, guys. This is exactly what's being discussed around boardrooms and conference rooms. Okay? And they have planned this for quite some time. It's not just something that it was planned last week. Okay? This is something that is years in the making. So you would have these truly heartless perpetrators sitting in boardrooms and conference rooms and meeting rooms, planning out exactly how to mess with people's lives. Planning out all of these things, because this is all done with military-based coordination. Okay? These are coordinated false flag events. They don't just spontaneously happen. This is something that's been planned out for quite some time, and they get people, they get task squads, they get mercenaries or whatever it is, right, that are basically being there trying to prevent any form of outside help coming to these people, right? So they basically have been trying to block supplies, they've been trying to block money, donations, all of these different things from the people who have gone through the losing of their homes and the losing of their land. And they basically want them to sweat it out. They want them to be drenched in so much fear that as soon as they get that phone call, they'll have no choice but to sell their land. And bingo, a lot of the elitists got all their land that they need. That's their strategy. That's their plan. However, a lot of their plan has not come to fruition because they underestimate the intelligence of the people. Because they look at people and say, these people are just a bunch of idiots. They're just stupid, a bunch of consuming pigs. And we got them, and there's no problem that we foresee, and that's how stupid they are, right? Their stupidity is underestimating the power of the people, because they look at the people, they look at the human race, and they just think that we're the stupidest bunch of people they've ever met in their entire life. They think that these people are so easy to manipulate. They're dumb, they're idiotic. None of them can even tie their own shoe, right? All they do is consume like a bunch of pigs, and so we can completely fool them. And we'll be able to get away with whatever the heck we want to get away with. That's their mentality. That is exactly how they see us, right? And they've greatly underestimated humanity. And that's their downfall, right? Because a lot of people are not falling for their BS, okay? You're getting people in that sense who are coordinating, who are working together as groups, who are actually getting names of these companies, these investors that are trying to call up these people that are trying to grab their land. And they're basically moving into lawsuits with them, right? So basically the whole idea is that they're trying to use legalities to basically counteract. And again, that's all part of the plan, right? That's leading into something even greater. But from what I get from this reading here, like, we're seeing judgment. We're seeing the idea what goes around comes around. Action is already being taken right now. It's being done at this moment. People who have been responsible have been completely and totally taken out. The majority of them, okay? And there's going to be a rebalancing. There's going to be the idea of an equilibrium. So is this going to be happening again in the near future? I don't think so, okay? I think this is the idea, like I said, of the king making that stupid move and then zeroing in on it. This is what you would refer to as the old regime making desperate, stupid moves, okay? They don't realize that so much of their plans have been exposed. They don't realize how much of themselves have been exposed. They don't realize that through the underground and through the grassroots and through the alternatives, they're all that's being talked about. And this is helping to educate millions upon millions upon millions of people to getting the idea of exactly how these psychopaths think. And this is what's going to lead into the idea of a reconciliation. This is what's going to lead to the idea of a rebalancing, right? Of being where there has been loss, there will be gain. And that's really what I'm getting. So the final thing we'll be looking at is extraterrestrials, and then we're going to go into questions for you guys. Okay. So last thing is looking into the ET agenda, into more about extraterrestrial disclosure. As I've talked about before, as Adronis has also talked about before, we have quite a lot of different extraterrestrial civilizations on this planet. Adronis has basically said about 17 different extraterrestrial civilizations that he is aware of are walking this planet right now, and that there are many incognito extraterrestrial informants, you could say, that may also be on the ground, that are working together with specific agencies to also help in the counterforces to remedy these situations relating to the old regime agendas. So what is going to be the impact relating to the nature of extraterrestrial disclosure for the remainder of this year? Are we going to see any more big revealings relating to extraterrestrial disclosure that will continue to happen throughout the remainder of 2023? So let's take a look at that. Okay. So it's kind of a mixed feeling. It's kind of a mixed bag here in that sense, because they have been trying to use the whole idea of extraterrestrial disclosure to fuel their own agendas, right? We're referring to the old regime here. So there has been, in that sense, a very powerful realization, unification, knowing that other civilizations exist, and that there are actually quite a few of them that are working together with humanity, okay? So a lot of talk about people, of ones that are basically disclosing certain regressive races. Oh, these aliens are not our friends, and they're trying to conquer. And this, well, guys, that's the very small riffraff that you're talking about, okay? Because that is not the majority of the civilizations that exist beyond our world, and some that are even upon our world. Many of them are very much wanting to help out humanity. Many of them are very much wanting to work with the earth, right? It's kind of like the earth comes first and humanity follows. The last thing they want is any particular form of massive destruction taking place on the earth, and they have vowed to protect the earth at any cost. This is why, again, there's ever any talks of nuclear weapons or trying to use nuclear armaments from one country to another, Don't buy into it, because a lot of it is BS. No nukes will ever be allowed to be launched. All of them will be deactivated. Not only are they deactivated, they cannot ever be used again. They've fried these particular systems, and the entire infrastructure of the nuke itself just can't be activated. Everything's been completely deactivated with it, right? They can also work together with vibrational technology, as I was talking about with the nature of negative green. It's very simple for me, for example, if I wanted to, which I'm not really going to do. I have the natural ability to put vertical negative green into anything I want. Okay, now I would never do that, but nonetheless, if I can do that, and then there's these beings that have so much incredible advanced technology working with vibrational science. Do you know what you could do with nuclear silos? You could fill those nuclear silos with so much vertical negative green that a human wouldn't even be able to go near it, right? It would be such a radioactive poison relating to subtle life force energy that is would be just going to be a complete abandoned facility. They couldn't go in it. It's like looking at Easter Island, okay, with the Easter Island heads, but they're not really heads, they're basically full bodies. You can't actually stay in that place for very long, because the originators that developed the Easter Island heads, that is a secure base, that is a defensive installation, and those particular monuments are covered in vertical negative green. Okay, what that means is they're basically contained a particular source of energy, radiation vibration. It is a radiation of life force energy, and that radiation is lethal. And depending upon the space, depending upon the site, you can put heavy, intense layers of that vertical negative green on top of these monuments, where no human would be able to get to, because as soon as they approach it, they instantly start feeling sick. Okay, it's exactly what I felt when I went and healed Stonehenge. Okay, and Stonehenge was very much out of control. It was it was just, I wouldn't say dilapidated, but it was just a disaster area, right? Because you had all these beautiful stones that have been broken apart, that have been misaligned. Basically, they have like a metal slab holding up a large stone as well too. Like, this is basically, in the way that I was looking at it, it was like holding up a dead body and doing this, right? And just watching a decayed old dead body in the middle of a field. And that's exactly what they've done to Stonehenge, right? So you have this corporation right now that runs Stonehenge, and just the way that they have treated it, the way that they let the public go and see it, like, you guys are complete fools. You should not let anybody near Stonehenge whatsoever, right? And I'm not saying this to brag, I'm not saying this to boast, but again, after I visited Stonehenge and I did a lot of that deep healing with Stonehenge, now it's fine. It's completely okay. And I've had my entire team verify that, because I had about 24 other people with me. And after that healing was done, not only was the healing done, right? You can actually see this on the Schumann resonance monitor on that day. The exact time that I did the healing, because people were keeping track of me exactly when I did it, the entire heartbeat of the earth shifted up after I finished healing Stonehenge. So I'm not trying to boast, guys, but that big spike from the Schumann resonance came from me. Okay? And I'm not saying that to have an ego trip or anything like that, but basically, before I came along, it was the nature that Stonehenge was a heavy, contaminated, vertical, negative green, horrific site. Okay? And just being able to get that guidance from Spirit that very morning, saying, Brad, you need to go to Stonehenge, and this is exactly what you need to do. I was getting step-by-step instructions from Spirit, exactly what I needed to do, because I haven't faced anything like this before. And I'd go right to Stonehenge, and I could feel the sickness of Stonehenge. A few others around me were feeling it as well too. And went right up to it, right in the middle of all the tourists that were there, and just working to concentrate, working with my instruments, and then being able to clear up Stonehenge completely. Now when you go to Stonehenge, there's no more danger, right? You will actually feel a very heart-centered, loving, warm energy. Even when I'm tuning into it remotely, all I feel there now is loving heart energy. What really shocked me is that nobody else before me went to Stonehenge to heal it. Okay? Some people may have believed that they went there and started doing healing, but if you don't know about vibrational science, you can't heal it. Okay? On that way, I know a lot about vibrational science. But I even met people who were, again, in biogeometry, and none of them went there to do any particular type of healing. You even have the founder of biogeometry themselves who went there and did nothing. Okay? Shocked me to my core. It's like, I gotta do this? This is something that's been out of whack for thousands of years with Stonehenge, and I gotta go there and do this? Okay. Well, not that I'm honored, but I was just surprised. I was like, oh, there's so many wise people. There are so many great masters before me that could have come here to Stonehenge and could have cleaned it up. And you're telling me none of them did that? Nope. It shocked me. And I was like that the whole day. I was completely shocked. Like, Brad had to clean it up. It was shocking to me. It was kind of like it was an honor, but it was a shock at the same time. So I can't believe it. You had wise monks, you have wise masters, you have these mystical gurus coming here, you have the founder of biogeometry coming here, and not a single one of you laid a finger to heal Stonehenge. Not a single one of you did that. And I got to do it, right? So that was my feeling about it. It's kind of like it was a bittersweet feeling. I didn't enjoy having... Getting some funky funky fire alarms here today. That happened early this morning as well too. Sorry about that, guys. Hope that didn't scare you. Hopefully the fire alarms aren't going crazy. They are doing fire alarm tests in my building today. So. But again, yeah, there was just a very, very surprising thing. Like I said, it was an honor to do that, but it was also quite a surprise at the same time, working with Stonehenge in that way. But the good news is that Stonehenge is all cleaned up, right? There's no more of that vertical negative green. For those of you who are experienced in biogeometry, I would give you guys homework. If you guys have the tools for biogeometry, I would like you to take a live picture, or just basically view a live picture of Stonehenge, and you go ahead and you try to look for vertical negative green, you won't find any. If you're looking for horizontal negative green, you'll find lots, okay? All of Stonehenge and its land has been completely harmonized, okay? Like I said, I know how to do that because I know about vibrational science. I know how to work with the vibrational band. This is probably going to go off for the whole broadcast, guys, so I'm just letting you know. It's a day where they're testing the fire alarms, and so I'm just giving you a heads up ahead of time, right? So hopefully it doesn't give me a heart attack when I'm trying to talk about these things, but the fire alarm will be going off in the background sporadically, so just letting you guys know that ahead of time. Anyways, this is what I'm talking about with the relationship to extraterrestrials. Now, because extraterrestrials, this is their natural technology, okay? Their natural technology can work with vibrational science. They can work with the vibrational bands. It's very, very simple for them to put layers of vertical negative green upon nuclear silos so that no man can even go in there, right? So these are things that are known to happen, but they've even gone beyond that where they completely deactivate a nuclear warhead and it just can't be operable again. It is completely inoperable. And a lot of that comes through vibrational science as well too. You can work to completely disrupt them because they operate on certain bands. And those particular bands themselves can basically fry up a computer grid. It can take down an entire system. It can take down an entire network, and you'll never be able to get that system up ever again, right? Because that particular vibrational pattern is there, and you won't be able to get it out unless you know vibrational science. Okay, magic. In the ancient times, this is exactly what magic was all about, guys. Vibrational bands. Working with vibrational color bands. But working with it in such a deep, intricate way where you can combine the bands, you can strengthen the bands, you can spread out the bands, you can work together, again, working with anchor points to create portal systems. That's all portal systems are. Guys, do you know how to create a portal system? Because I do. Okay? What it primarily involves is a particular form of infrastructure setup where you're working together with particular degrees of grids, arrays, chevrons in that way to basically create a portal system that would therefore have a reciprocating portal system aperture. Reciprocating portal system aperture and being able to create kind of like what you see in the Stargate movies, the Stargate show. It's very accurate, right? All of that involves negative green. All of that involves working with the ability to transport. If you want to create a portal system, you have to have negative green. Okay? You have to be able to work with the negative green vibrational band. And if you know how to work with it intricately, you know how to work together with its magnetic coherencies, you are able to create natural portal systems. Okay? I know how to naturally create them, but I don't have the resources to create a portal system, and I'd probably have a bunch of black helicopters flying over with me. So I don't think I'll engage myself with that. But yes, I know exactly how to create these portal systems. These portal systems are actually not very difficult. You're working together with arrays, you're working together with chevrons, you're working together with, again, particular forms of vibrational bands that represent the shape vibration, and you're aligning them together that represents a, you could say, a Stargate address, very much like what Stargate talks about. It's very, very real. Everything they talk about in that show about Stargates, guys, is 100% accurate. I really don't know how long this is going to go on for, but it is 100% accurate altogether, okay? But like I said, going back into my original point, a lot of the extraterrestrial civilizations that are around the Earth right now are much more in alignment to the harmony of the Earth and the harmony of humanity, okay? So the reading I was getting was that, I kind of put the cards away, but the reading I was getting is that it's going to be kind of a mixed bag. It's like, yes, they're here, but they have to keep themselves clandestine because they are going to be, they have to let this whole situation play out. It's like I said, a lot of the counterforces let, to a certain degree, the old regime spiel their old false agendas, okay? And they have to kind of let them out to say, okay, what are they doing so we can bust them? What are they doing so that they can bust them? So there will be a little bit of a bittersweetness coming together here relating to ET disclosure. A lot of it will still be seen as them being a threat, of them being a threat to their establishment, to their order, to the United States, blah, 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 blah. So there's still going to be a lot of crap that's going to be spewed regarding that stuff. So kind of get ready to brace yourself for certain things, because they are going to continue to feed the agenda of trying to bring about a hoax alien invasion, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Like I said, there's only certain leeway that's given up to a certain amount of time, and then through that certain amount of time, everything is going to be a lockdown, a locking in, I should say, of the king that is left standing relating to the old regime. Make a stupid move, we'll come in and we'll pounce you, right? That's the idea. Okay, so guys, that's what I wanted to share. I'm sorry if I went a little bit long on that, but we have about a half hour, 35 minutes for some Q&A. If you guys can tolerate the buzzing fire alarm, right? Like I said, it's the 24th today, so they are doing a fire alarm drill check of the entire building today. So hopefully it doesn't last too much longer. It's ridiculous. I do not like living in condos. Good news is I'm going to be moving into a new house at the end of September with my girlfriend Brienne and her daughter as well too. So we'll have a nice, beautiful 5-bedroom house that we'll have together. I'm going to be putting together a whole new office, so it'll be a much more nicer look, nicer decor that's coming. So I'm going to be moving into a new house at the end of September. Looking forward to that. Finally getting out of the condos. Do not like them at all. Okay, let's go up to the top of the chat here, and I'm just going to look at some donation-based questions, and then we'll get to other questions here on the chat. So again, if you guys do have a question for me and you want to make it priority, you can use the YouTube Super Chat donation button, and you can just leave a donation with your question, and I'll be happy to get to you. Okay, this one here is from Lishika. Lishika says, "Hi Brad, in case I don't make it, I got in early. My question, in Victoria, Australia, and possibly the world, does the dentists have the ingredients in their injection for numbing like the vaccine did? Is this true?" Well, yeah, but basically the whole idea that the numbing agent really is something that's derived from clove oil, right? Basically, they could refer to it as Novocaine in that particular way. But there's a numbing agent within their ingredients quite commonly when they inject you, right? To basically try to freeze a tooth in that sense. They will use that, but the true ingredient comes from the nature of clove oil, right? Clove oil is more of the natural ingredient for that numbing particular agent. I'm not too sure if that's what you're asking, right? A numbing situation like they did with the vaccine. Again, I don't know. I've never taken the vaccine, so I don't know what they're doing with it. But the whole idea is that of numbing agents, yeah, it's quite common through dentists, through doctors and all that. Novocaine, or again, which is already just derived from the clove oil plant, from the clove plant, I should say, working with clove oil. Okay, so again, I don't know if that answers your question, but there you go. Okay, let's go to Jijo Matthew. Dear Adronis, can you please speak about Chintamani stones? Now, guys, I'm not able to bring Adronis in because of this fire alarm. It's just going to distract me too much. It's going to bring me out of focus. So basically, I'm going to kind of answer. See what I mean? I'm not going to be able to go into a state with that going off. So I'll do what I can to best answer that question on my own, just kind of with Adronis in the background. Where are they from, and how can the stones help us? So I was looking into Chintamani stones. There's a certain way of pronouncing it, Chintamani stones, and they're something that are highly valued. They're kind of like a philosopher's stone for many ascetics, for many masters of the past. Now, these are very highly charged crystal stones that basically are formed under the earth and basically start to bring themselves up after a certain amount of time. And they represent, in that sense, a very, very heightened vibration, because they almost represent, in that sense, almost like an illumined crystal. It's quite beautiful. And that there's ancient depictions of masters holding the Chintami stones, basically feeling that it's going to help you to move towards ascension. It's going to give you higher spiritual powers in that way. There's even Chintamani stones that are available on places like Etsy. Right? There's some people that also are collecting them and selling them as well too. And you can look at their vibrations, but they are naturally charged from the earth, and they are something that has been sitting in the sands of the earth for many hundreds of thousands or even millions of years. And you're looking at a serious amount of charging of the earth with that. So you're looking at a tremendous heavenly amplifier. You're looking at something that may have, in that sense, very powerful source center vibration qualities to it. I would need to get my hands on one for me to do an evaluation of it. But just basically in regards to what a lot of ancient mystics have been talking about it, is that it's functioned as a traditional philosopher's stone. Okay? And that this is something that produces a very powerful alchemical effect. You can basically go into heightened states with it when it is present with you. So where are they from? They're from the earth. Okay? But basically in that sense, they can often be found in deserts. They can be found in that sense, or desert-like plains, and they basically are dug up, right? So some of them can be found in, some of it can be found in the Middle East. Some of it can be found around India as well too, Nepal, Tibet, okay? But they're basically much more in the desolate areas of those places. And basically they can be dug up in that way. Are they extraterrestrial technology? No. No, they are stones that are naturally given from the earth, but they hold a very, very powerful charge. And if you're able to work with them, you can basically have very high, almost ascension-like experiences with it. I can't guarantee that, though, because I would have to get one, and I'd have to examine it personally. But that's exactly what they say about them. Okay? Thank you for your question, Jijo. All right. Let's go down the list here a bit more. So again, guys, I can't bring Adronis in because of the fire alarm situation. Like that. I don't know how long they're going to be doing that for. So Big D basically says, Adronis, could you enlighten us a little bit about the life of Buddha? That would really just go on for too long, Big D, okay? We just don't have the time to go into the extended life of Buddha, okay? But basically in that sense, there's a lot of talk with it. I think, Big D, the best thing for you to do is maybe drop me an email later on, and maybe I can get Adronis to come through when we're not getting a noisy fire alarm here, and I can give you a little bit more elaboration on that. It's just too much of a long story to go into, and we just don't have the time for that. I appreciate the donation, but feel free to drop me an email later, and possibly I can bring Adronis in and he can give you some insight relating to Buddha. Okay? Thank you very much. All right, so to go to my website, just go to newearthteachings.com, go to the contact page. You can drop me a message there, Big D, regarding your question, and I'll bring Adronis in when it's quieter. I'll see if I can get around this weekend, because I got to do a lot of packing, because I'm ready to go on a trip tomorrow. So I'll see how the timing goes, but I will do what I can to get back to you. It's like going off every minute. It's hilarious. Okay. So hopefully, guys, that's not causing too much irritation with you, but this is just the day where the fire department comes in and they start testing these alarms, and I just don't know if they're going to be doing this all day or what, but it's a little uneasy. Okay, let me just go down the list here a bit more to see if there's any more donation-based questions, and then I'll go into chat questions. Okay, Matthew says, "Hi Brad, I've been watching you since 2015, Love and Light." And just a reminder, guys, if you can, just ask questions for me. I'm not going to be able to bring a Jonas in with the fire alarm, okay? Just make sure these questions are for me. If not, I'm just answering them as me anyways. Okay, but Adronis is in the background, so there you have it. Question, can you explain what transgender and non-binary people are? Are they ill? Matthew, I have to be careful with this, okay? When you're talking about transgender and non-binary people, are you done now? Are you finished? Okay. So when I'm talking about transgender and non-binary people, okay, there are genuine people who decide to do that, okay? And this is in no way offending them in any particular way. But people who are basically being coerced into this is all part of a agenda, okay? Matthew, I've talked about this before. Maybe you didn't see the episode, okay? But basically the whole idea of transgenderism and non-binary in the idea of an agenda is basically making people much more into the elimination of sex, the elimination of gender, just so that there's just humans, right? And it's all part of a particular agenda that is actually trying to breed emotions out of people, right? It's basically trying to breed out emotions, behaviorisms, mentalities, attributes. All of it is basically looking to be bred out of the human being. This is the path that leads towards the grays, okay? Now, I'm not talking about people who feel that they generally want to move into transgenderism, because we've had transgenderism on this planet for many millennia, right? It even goes back into ancient Native American tribes where they would actually have transgender people in their tribes. Okay, it's nothing new. But what they're doing is they're taking that and they're perverting it. They're taking the idea of transgenderism and they're perverting it. And they're trying to basically make non-binary people. Now, transgenderism is not non-binary. Transgenderism would represent the idea that you're kind of flipping genders. But what they're doing is that's a stepping stone into making people completely non-binary. Basically trying to poison them in all types of ways, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Just poisoning them so that they become nothing more different than robots, where there is no man, there is no woman, there's just non-binary humans. And the non-binary humans would basically be susceptible and just taking orders and just doing as you're told type of situation. It's a 1984 George Orwell idea, right? And that's basically what they've been trying to do. Will they succeed? Not really, because their entire plans are falling apart. A lot of this is going to be exposed, but there's still going to be those particular type of movements that will bring about such ideas for many years to come, okay? But it is certainly going to start thinning away as the generations go by. But basically that's their entire plan. That's the path of the grays, okay? When you look at the grays, the cyborgs in that sense, a lot of them basically represent genetically modified humans. They're genetically modified, they're genetically mutated. They have basically had their own reproductive systems bred out of them. And they represent a very late descendant of our race, okay? So when you look at the grays, right, with the big almond eyes, the very thin bodies, very slender builds, some look like children, some can be 7 feet tall. It just depends on the type of grays that you're looking at. And many of them are, again, just robots. They really do not have any emotionality within them whatsoever. They have been mentally and emotionally programmed. And that has basically been a part of their future. And they continue to work with the technological side of things. They continue to be warring. And they basically destroyed their own particular Earth. And so for them to make any particular type of shift, any particular type of change, they needed to leave their own planet and basically shift themselves vibrationally onto another dimensional plane, which would represent our plane. And so they've worked together with the governments of the world since about the 1930s, the 1940s, and basically trying to exchange technology so that they could do further experimentations on living humans so that they could help. So that they could... beep, beep, beep. It's hilarious. Okay. So that they could help to restore their own race again. They discovered that they were not able to restore their own race. It was far too complex. They were too far removed from the natural course of their own evolution. And so what they decided to do was they would create hybrids. Right? And the hybrids are basically very much like what some people have talked about pertaining to the Yahyel, pertaining to different types of hybrid races, the hybrid children in that way, that were, again, the direct integration of the Greys and the humans. And that would be the closest thing to their progeny that would enable them to, again, alleviate some karma relating to their future generations, because they so badly wanted to return back into the natural way of life. They wanted to go back into the Creator's path. Okay? And so that is basically what the non-binary people are leading themselves into. They're looking to move into the path of the Greys, okay, into that particular timeline. But I don't feel that that's going to happen, okay? There's a lot of changes that are going to be happening across the planet, but again, there will still be fringe groups. There are going to be fringe groups that will, again, still... Oh my God, man. I can't even get a word out now. There must be some sort of programming going on here. What can I say? Okay. Fringe groups that are basically looking to go beyond, still continue on with the non-binary program, but I don't think it will be anywhere as large as they were thinking it would be. Okay. But small remnant groups, yes, absolutely. Okay. So Matthew, hope that answers your question. I apologize, guys, for this fire alarm. It was going off this morning too before I even got on to the chat. So, but it feels like it's got a mind of its own here. Maybe it's an infiltration agenda, right? You never know. Okay. So I think that's the last of the donation-based questions. So thank you, guys. I appreciate that. So we got about 20-25 minutes left. So we'll take more questions here. So just give me a moment as I go down the list here. Yeah, I can hear it actually down the hallway too as well. So these fire marshals just going crazy. Oh, I guess they get off on the idea of testing the fire. The way they're doing it is just ridiculous. Okay. Oh, here's a beep. Oh, I love that beep. Oh, I love that beep. I guess they have some sort of fetish towards firing off fire drills. Right? They get off on it, I guess. Okay, this one here is from Karina. Karina asked the question, what or where is the universal chakra? Guys, you cannot really look at these things with locations, okay? The closest thing you can really look at pertaining to your own spinal chakras would be the 6 that you naturally have. But many of you feel that you need some sort of physical location into understanding a universal chakra. There is a universal chakra, but it's not based upon the state of location. You have to feel it, okay? It's not something that is, okay, what's up your head? It's approximately several meters. No. Anybody that tells you that is incorrect, okay? When you're looking at the universal chakra system, it is a chakra system that extends beyond the body and it even extends beyond physical matter. You guys have to remember that all the chakra centers themselves exist within the causal plane. Okay? So they are not physical. Okay? Even when you're looking at the blueprint of the human design itself, even though we have a shell here, the original blueprint of the human design in regards to our organs, to how we function, everything of that nature resides within the causal plane. Okay? The chakras are not something physical, yet they respond to the physical body. Okay? The universal chakra is something much more grand that you could not put a physical location within, because you might as well try and map out the entire universe and see if you can find it there, because it can't happen. It's not something that represents a nature of location. The important thing for you to know is to get out of this mindset of thinking that space and time have some type of credence when it comes to ourselves. They don't. Space and time are nothing but illusionary properties. They are nothing but illusionary measurements. They are nothing but illusionary grids. And they are not going to help you to find a universal chakra. They are not even going to help you to look at your own spinal chakras. Okay? You have to feel it within yourself. You have to feel the energetic. You have to feel the vibratory rays to which they represent. The red ray, the orange ray, the yellow ray, the green ray, etc. Right? But all of these particular rays in that sense are not something that you can just detect through the physical. Oh, it's here and it's here and it's here and it's here. You have to feel it through the heart. That's the important thing. So yes, we do have a universal chakra, but I would say we would actually have universal chakras. Okay? But you cannot be able to identify them through a space-time manifold, a space-time grid, because that doesn't have any grit to it. That doesn't have any particular property that is appropriate to look into the idea of thinking that these are in a location, because they are not. They reside within vibration, and you need to start working with the map of vibration to understand the nature of all chakras that represent the nature of your being, which basically are marker points. Okay? They are basically generated marker points of energy that govern certain vibratory states within yourselves that make up the entire mainframe of the human being infrastructure design. Okay? There's something much more to the chakras that people are not telling you. They are vital to your own embodiment. They are vital in regards to the formation of the universe. They are vital in regards to the necessity of all life. Okay? This is why when people start talking about chakra removal, or Brad, I've gotten my chakras removed and that's complete and total bullshit. Okay? I've had people come to me who think that their chakras have been removed, and I look into them and their chakras are still there. Okay? It's garbage. And unfortunately, there's people that are profiteering off the idea of thinking that they can remove your chakras from your body. And that is complete and total garbage. Okay? It's no more different than the flat earth garbage. Right? So you're looking at flat earth garbage and you're looking at chakra garbage, where we can remove chakras and we can take them out of your... Guys, if you remove chakras, you wouldn't even be here. Your body simply would not function. Okay? Give me 1 minute. 1 moment. Gotta knock on the door, guys. Okay, I think the fire inspection is finally done. They just came to me to confirm that they're just testing the fire alarms, so everything is checked out. Very good. All right, now hopefully there's no more of that beeping. That was a little distracting, to put it mildly. Okay, so sorry about that, guys, with that little bit of a breakup. But anyways, Karina, that's what I can share in regards to the universal chakras. Okay, that's what I can share in regards to chakras in general. You have to be aware a lot more of the vibrational spectrum. You need to be much more aware of vibration, because that is actually how you detect chakras in the body. It's through your vibration, it's through presence, it's through the feeling of energy. It's not so much about location, okay? If we try to work with location, you're never going to really discover the chakras, because they do not operate on this physical band. And it's still going off. Can't get a break today, right? They do not operate on this physical band, but they operate on the causal band, okay? And the causal band is that plane to where it is all about vibration, to where it is all about vibrational mapping, okay? So that's basically what I can share in regards to that question. It's a good question, though, too. All right, let's go down the list here a bit more. We do have to wrap this up, guys. I don't know how long this buzzing is going to go on for. Okay, so let me just take a moment. Bank Rammer, funny, just asked me, has Brad addressed the flat earth theory? Guys, and my entire perspective on that, I've made that clear many times, but the complete and total idea of a flat earth is complete nonsense, okay? And I've talked about that many times. I've said that many times. Adronis has come through. He has also said that your earth is not flat. You have to look into the nature of hyperboloids. You have to look into the nature of toroidal fields, and none of them represent a flat plane. You have never ever seen anybody on YouTube genuinely gone into the end of the earth and say, hey guys, I'm at the edge of the earth and I'm about to fall off. Oh! Have you ever seen anybody do that? No. Guys, I've been all over this world. Not once have I ever fallen off the earth. Okay? It's a bunch of stupidness. And that's just my own per take on it. I've been all over the world. I've traveled all over the world. I've even looked at the earth astrally. There is nothing that would signify anything pertaining to a flat earth. It's complete and total rubbish. It's complete and total garbage. And I'm sorry for people who believe in it, but I'm sorry. That is not genuine in regards to the planet that we live on, right? It's just garbage. It's rubbish. It's like I say with people with chakra removal, right? That they're thinking that they're going to clean out your chakras. You guys got to be discerning about these things. Because I've had a couple of people who have come to me and said, oh, Brad, I had my chakras removed, and I just wanted to confirm that my chakras are removed. Now I'll go ahead and I'll do a test on them. I'll go ahead and do a test on them, and their chakras are there. They're exactly where they need to be. And so they basically let themselves get conned. I said, no, they're still there. Oh my God, I paid like $300 for this person to clean up my chakras. Well, you got scammed. Simple as that. Okay? And I'm spending a lot of time looking into flat earth theory. Well, you're getting scammed. And simple as that. Okay? I'm sorry, guys. I'm not here to sweet talk and sugarcoat you and thinking that the flat earth theory has any merit, because it doesn't. To me, it's a bunch of bullshit. Right? And I've said that many times over the years. Okay? It's nothing but a bunch of crap. So that's my theory. Nothing against the person personally, right? People who decide to do that, that's your own thing. And I'm not bashing anybody personally. But as far as the whole theory of it goes, it's complete and total absurdity. It is completely and totally ludicrous. It is completely and totally stupid, right? Because that is not the way the universe works. When you truly start to look into the vibrational science, when you start to look into sacred geometry, when you start to look into the geometrical patterns about how this universe is formed, about how it operates, and then thinking that there's a flat earth, you basically spit in the face of everything that represents the natural, harmonious, and sacred nature of the universe. And you're spitting in its face by thinking that, right? And so, no, to me, that's just complete and total rubbish. I've had people for years saying, bro, is the earth flat? Is the earth flat? Is the earth... No, guys. What you're buying into is complete and total horseshit. And that has been my reply many times, right? So I've never subscribed to it. I've even looked into it through deeper states. Said, sorry, there's nothing in regards to a flat earth. There's never been a flat earth. There never will be a flat earth. Not in this particular dimension, right? Unless it's some sort of artificial construct that someone develops. But that is not what the earth is, okay? She is very much ovular. She's like a soccer ball with a belly, okay? She is very much an ovular planet, and all planets represent that, because that is the harmonic infrastructure of the energy that they represent for them to have the experiences that they have, okay? You cannot have that through a flat structure. Flat structure just can't be done. Has any of you fallen off the edge of the earth yet? Right? Have any of you gone and fallen off the edge of the earth? Oh yeah, here's a plane. The plane's, oh! None of you have ever fallen off the edge of the earth. I'm sure there's a lot of international travelers on my channel. Okay? I've traveled over the world. I've never once fallen off of it. Okay? It's a bunch of stupidness. It's like something you'd see on Sesame Street. Right? So anyways, don't get me started. I digress. But that is what I've shared for many years right now. It just hasn't been something recent. I've always thought the whole idea of flat earth is bunk. And I've been aware of that for quite some time. Okay? Anyways, let's get rolling here with more questions. Okay. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Joan Holland says, Canada will become part of the U.S. and have constitutional law. By the way, U.S. has been in continuity of government. Yeah, I don't see that happening at all. No. If anything, I would say the idea that there would be a North American Union at some particular point, where the idea of Canada, the United States, and Mexico would function as one country, but that still might be a ways down the road as well, too. I do not in any way, shape, or form see the idea of Canada being part of the United States, or the United States being part of Canada, and that's it. Okay? A North American Union, possibly. A North and South American Union, possibly. but nothing in regards to Canada being the United States. Not going to happen. Okay? And that's just my own take on it. Take it for what it's worth. But I've looked into such things, and I was not getting anything of that nature. Just my own perspective on it. Okay? Let's go down the line a bit more. I think it finally stopped. Thank God. Okay, and Gabriella, thank you for your donation. Appreciate that. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up with 2 more questions, and we're going to wrap up here, because we're almost out of time. I may have spoken too soon, because I still hear fire alarms down the hallway. Okay, so again, guys, I have to remind you, please no personal questions on the chat. Okay, I guess I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but if you tuned into my channel, you've tuned into these quite a few times, you know that I don't do personal questions on the chat here. Those are for private sessions, okay? So there's just a lot of comments on the chat. There's not a lot of questions. Elizabeth says, are we getting any closer to seeing the end of all of this? Will we ever be able to see the off-worlders that have been helping us? Guys, they're on the planet right now with us. A lot of the off-worlders are along here for the ride. They are here with us. Again, as I talked about, Adronis referred to the idea of many incognito extraterrestrials being part of a 17 extraterrestrial group that is already here on the planet, that is already walking the streets, that you can basically bump into. I've had a couple people that were with me in the UK that actually bumped into some human ETs. Okay? And this is it. I can basically get the impression of other particular people that I bump into that basically would have extraterrestrial origin as well too. Okay, they are very much walking down your streets. They are very much mingling together with the large metropolises of the planet. Okay? They're walking around you all the time. They are not just going to go, hey guys, I'm from Sirius A, ha 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 ha. Okay? They're not going to do that. So it's kind of like you have to be a little bit more tuned in to what their vibration represents. You just start talking to them and you know there's something about them that they feel very, very off-world. And I've had impressions of a couple of people like that. Okay? And like I said, we're in the UK. I had one of my students basically bumped into someone who's very much extraterrestrial. Okay? Now, Adronis was promising that certain people on the tour would bump into off-world encounters, and we had a few of them during the UK tour. This is why I said it's good for you guys to come on a tour with me, because I'm going to do one in Bosnia next year. Okay? And I'm going to promise you guys that are going to it's going to give you something that you could never imagine, right? When you go on tours with me, you're going to experience things that are out of this world. It happened in Mount Shasta, it happened in South Africa, it happened in the UK, right? And it's going to happen in Bosnia next September. Okay? So I'll be going to Bosnia with 24 more people. Okay? And so I'll be putting that up when the time gets closer. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Bosnian pyramids. We're going to look at a lot of ancient extraterrestrial technology, but it's going to be much of a healing tour, right? We're going to be doing a lot of healing on the trip because we're going to be healing up Bosnia quite a bit. It needs it. Some of its sacred sites need healing as well too, but you guys are going to be looking at some outstanding sacred sites. We're also going to work to make extraterrestrial contact again, okay? But in Bosnia. So again, probably as we get closer to the new year, I'll have more information to where you can book with me and we can go to Bosnia together, and we're going to do some adventuring there. All right, it's going to be awesome. Okay, so basically in that sense, Elizabeth, are we getting any closer to the end of this? We're getting right to the cusp. Yes, it's going to reach its state of a turning point. Okay, but like I said, 2020s represent a cleanup decade. All of this stuff has to go. I know you guys don't like looking at this. I don't even like looking at this stuff a lot. But guys, the universe has to tell you, human beings, you gotta clean up your debts. Okay? You cannot just bury your head in the sand. You cannot just put blindfolds on and thinking that you can ignore this stuff. This is all part of a collective karmic debt that needs to be seen, because you need to see exactly how your own people have been working in these very devious ways and what they have hidden under your feet. It needs to come out. You gotta see it. Okay? I know you don't like seeing it, but you gotta pay off your debts. Okay? The universe doesn't just let you get away with it. You got to look at what the collective of humanity, even if it is through these oligarchs, have been doing to this planet, what their plans have been, what they have been trying to pull. with us. You got to see it. Okay? And it's ugly. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's ridiculous. It's revolting. But you still got to see it. Okay? It's like your own life. If you've known that you've done some terrible things in the past and you've done nothing to reconcile it, the universe is going to shove it right in your face. Spirit is going to work together with the mirrors of the universe and shove that right in your face, because that certainly has happened to me when I've had to clean up a lot of my old stuff, right? When I was getting mad at loved ones, when I was getting angry, when I was getting fearful, when I was feeling rejected, and all these things that I had to go through and I had to clean up. And if I didn't clear it up, Spirit would work with the universe's mirrors and shove it right in my face. Brad, you got to clear this up. And I did, right? Every single one of us has to go through that. All of you. No one is exempt. Okay? So that's just how we work. That's the life that we live. Guys, we're here to work. Okay? You're incarnated inside a human body. You are incarnated inside of life. You got work to do. Okay? Once we finish that work, we can go off on a nice holiday, right? You're in spirit and you're going off into these beautiful heavenly realms, and you're talking with Buddha, and you're talking with Jesus, and you're talking with Krishna. You're talking with all these beautiful masters, and you're working with your angels, and it's beautiful, right? But here on earth, you're here to work, okay? You've punched in the clock, and now you're doing work here. Yeah, there's some time for fun here, and that's great, but you're here to work. You're here to help yourself. You're here to work with others. You're here to assist others, if that is what you choose to. But first and foremost, clean yourself up. That's the most important message, okay? So a lot of this is going to be changing. I wouldn't say it's going to be ending, but it's going to be changing form. It's going to be transitioning in that way, yes. Certain things are going to be dismantled. Certain things are going to be abolished. But there's going to be other things that are rising up, and we still have new challenges to work with, okay? So there will always be challenges, guys. That's all part of being incarnated here. You got work to do, right? Clean yourself up, work with yourself, bring yourself into the harmony of peace, look into these things, soften, 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 work with the heart, expand the heart, right? When you work with the heart and you soften it up and you start working with it, it is going to make everything softer. It is going to be able to enable you to surrender to everything, right? Soften it all up and surrender. That's the key. You've heard me talk about it before. Okay, guys, one more question, then we're going to wrap up. So I'm going to go closer to the bottom of the chat. Let's see here. Ali says, oh yeah, non-human are really real and look very much like us. Stonehenge was hype. Thank you, Brad. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Eli. Okay. Okay. Rounded dimensions. Okay, people are talking about flat earth stuff. I really don't care. I've already talked about the solar flash, Ben Kramer. I'd say look into some previous episodes of New Earth TV Live, where I brought Adronis in, and he's talked about solar activity. Okay, guys, there's no solar flash because the sun does not have its own light. Sun does not have its own light. Sun does not have its own heat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go check out a video that's on my YouTube channel called The True Nature of the Sun. Type it in on the YouTube search bar. Brad Johnson, The True Nature of the Sun. Okay, it will bring you right up to speed in regards to what I'm talking about the sun. Okay, guys, there's no such thing as a solar flash. Okay, because the sun does not have its own light. Okay, light comes from the radiation of the sun upon our atmosphere, which creates a catalytic effect very similar to sonoluminescence, and that is what brings about light and heat, but it is engulfed through the nature of the atmosphere surrounding our celestial body. Okay, and I know there's a lot of people that try to defend the whole idea of the flat earth theory. Guys, no offense, but it's a bunch of garbage. Okay, it doesn't work. You think, well, there are those ice sheets and other guys. People have flown around Antarctica. They've flown all around it entirely. No one's ever fallen off the planet. Okay? They've flown over the North Pole. They've flown over the South Pole. They've gone all around the wrapping of the Earth, and not a single person has fallen off through the beloved ice sheets. Okay? It's a bunch of garbage. Okay, and even when you're looking at, well, if it's a flat plane, it shouldn't just encounter ice sheets. Well, here's the ice sheets right here. Guys, first of all, ice sheets aren't even natural. They are artificially produced, often through cold fusion devices. Okay, if you have ice sheets around the north and southern poles of your planet, that has been artificially induced. Okay, that is looking at geoengineering weapons, quite commonly cold fusion devices. That means that there's land there. Okay, the ice sheets just don't form for the heck of it. There's a land support system there. Okay, and if you were basically to melt all of the ice off of Antarctica, you would see a land, and you would see all of this technology everywhere. You would see pyramids, you would see temples, you would see installations, you would see ancient structures all over the place. Okay, the same thing with the Arctic. There's land there as well too. Yes, there's certain chunks of glaciers and all that, but guys, all those glaciers are artificially created. Okay, that is used through cold fusion technology. Because the north and the southern poles, even though they do have coldness, it's not about feeling that you have all these miles and miles and miles of glacier that are meant to be natural. They're not. They are remnants of cold fusion detonation. They are remnants of cold fusion devices that spread from the north and to the south over a period of time. It's not a natural formation. Something the science books don't teach you. Okay? Something flat earthers don't teach you. Okay? If you're looking at a flat bed and you're looking at the idea of certain lands that would have those edges, and none of those lands have edges, you can't just look at ice sheets because you're looking at the north and the south. What about the west and the east? Right? Those are land masses right there. Are you going to fall right off the land masses? No. The entire flat earth stuff is bullshit. And you guys have to make up your own mind about that. But you want my opinion about it, there you go. It's complete and total garbage. Nothing more. All right? So let's end with one more question. We're going to wrap up. I guess we'll end with Carla's question here about silver. When will silver increase? Soon this year. So let's take a look at the cards for that and see if silver will make an increase this year. Okay, see what happens with the pricing of silver, with the value of silver, and what is ahead for silver. Okay. So will silver increase before the end of the year? What is the value of silver as we move towards the end of 2023? The fire alarms are still going off. Down the hallway. Okay, let's take a look here. Okay, it looks like it will have a high period, but then it's going to drop again. Okay, that's kind of the feeling I'm getting. So there's a value here with silver basically on the rise. Okay, it looks very, very promising. There's a heightening that's coming up here, right? So it's going to be taking some action. It's going to start moving itself up. It's looking really good behind the scenes, but in the near future, it's going to have a hang period. Okay, so I think maybe if we get around the summer, the fall time, we may start to see it peak a little bit, but I think it's going to drop again. Okay, it's just fluctuations. It's the markets, right? You're going to have ups and downs, but I think as we get into the fall time, we may start to see it more on the rise. I guess as we get closer to the winter, it may start to decline a little bit more. That's really what I'm getting from the cards. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Signposts Live today. Thank you for all your questions. They've all been great. And I'll speak to you again next week. Again, there is no New Earth TV Live this Friday because I will be away. And I'll be back next week with a new Signposts and New Earth TV Live as well too. All right. Take care, guys. Blessings to you all. Remember, everything that I share on this channel is my perspective, my point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. If you want to know the truth, you have to look inside yourself, not rely on my perspective or anyone else's perspective, but rely on yours. Okay? And that's the truth of the whole matter. Take care, guys. Blessings to you all. Namaskar. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also etherics.co. And through Etherics, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through Etherics. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on Etherics as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on Etherics. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you.